Have you ever heard of Zion Williamson? Probably because he tore up college basketball this year. And if you've heard of college basketball, you've probably heard of March Madness. March Madness is put on by the NCAA. And what do you think that they made off of showcasing these college players? Let me tell you, it was about $1 billion off of about a month of basketball. Now, let's kind of go over to professionals and showcase LeBron James. If he makes it to the playoffs, he gets a pretty nice little check on top of his already huge salary. Whereas Zion didn't see a penny of that $1 billion that all those huge schools made. And this is just one of the reasons why I think college athletes should be paid. Now, first reaction when people hear, oh, college athletes should be paid, is that they say, well, they get a scholarship. Why do they need to be paid? They're getting paid. They're getting an education. Whereas, that's true to a point. Most D1 athletes throughout all sports get about $100,000 for a full scholarship to come play to college. And yeah, $100,000, that's a lot of money. But when you break it down, not so much. It's over about 4 years of time, which leaves about $25,000 a year, which barely covers tuition and maybe a couple books. And these athletes, they're putting on a lot of entertainment for all these people throughout the entire year. And a full-time scholarship, yeah, is that much, but all the people that don't even get a full ride, and some that even walk on that just pay, they're paying basically for somebody else to watch them play the game that they work really hard for. Not only does the NCAA have basketball, but they have a bunch of other sports and a bunch of other companies that they sign deals for all the time for these athletes to be, showed and for our entertainment. Not too long ago, the NCAA signed an $11 billion contract over 12 years for these, things like March Madness, which is so small amount of time that it's insane. That's not even thinking about all the whole year that there's other college events, football, basketball, bowling. All of these athletes are filmed and watched on TV just like a professional would be. And they don't see any of the money. And it's not just, the TV. It's not just the companies. It's jerseys. It's clothing. If these schools didn't have these programs and these athletes playing basketball, playing football, doing all these other events, I wouldn't buy a jersey. I don't think a lot of people, other people would. And all that revenue goes straight to a school. What's even more crazy? Not even the teachers see any of that money. No, it's going straight to the school board. That's it. Nobody else. These athletes are treated like pros. From the time they get there, even beforehand, to the time they leave. They're constantly filmed. They're training every day, day in and day out, just as hard as any other athlete. And they put their bodies through the works. Going back to Zion, during this March Madness tournament, he got hurt. And they, didn't really do much. He got hurt, oh well. If that would have been worse, that could have had major effects on his life. He couldn't have maybe ever played basketball again. And for him, that's pretty much his future. And these athletes are treated like pros. We watch them on TV just like we would any other pro. And yet they don't get much out of it. Yes, sometimes in education, but that's not much, and at least in the grand scope of things. So really, yeah, scholarships are great, and hopefully these athletes can get an education, and maybe that is worth it. But overall, not really, especially compared to all the money that the NCAA is pulling in and all the entertainment and revenue that these athletes are providing, where they don't see any of it. Shoot, these athletes are basically pros. They act like them. Why shouldn't they get paid that way?